Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bobcast. Today on the show, I have two guests. This is the first time in probably 2 years that I've had two guests.
Nice.
And for a specific reason, today I have Chaz and Natalia Hazlitt here, two best-selling co-authors of their brand new book called Charlie's Haircut. So we're going to dive into that probably a little bit later on, and there's a lot to talk about in terms of the book. But before we go there, if you could, Chaz, maybe just give us a little kind of rundown, maybe some details on the context on who you are, what you do, and I'll let you kind of tell that, and you can go anywhere you want with it in terms of explaining that, and then we're going to kind of just dive in and see where the conversation takes us, man.
All right. Well, my name's Chaz, or a lot of people know me as Chaz or Chaz the Barber. I'm a celebrity barber. Been doing hair for about 20 years. Been in the celebrity game for about 15, working on sets, TV, film, photo shoots, traveling all over the place, just making people look beautiful, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been crazy for me to see, and I have to say thank you, Devin. He's here today too, AK40 Devin.
Dev,
for hooking this up and making this happen. Because without him, we actually wouldn't be here.
That's right.
And without him sending a direct message, you guys wouldn't have been connected. So that's the power of social media.
It really is.
Right,
it really is.
Right there. Yeah, man. But if you could give us some context of what you guys, like I said, we're going to go deep on the book, but why both of you are here today, if you could.
So, during the shutdown, right, that happened about 2 years ago, the world was just a grim place, crazy, and I just wanted to safeguard my children from even having to deal with that, what was going on in the outside world, and I'm home for 3 months with them full time every day. And I wanted to give them something that we can work on to keep them away from that outside chaos that was going on, so I can keep calmness in my home and just enjoy that time with them, and just create this book that was about my whole family and my experience as a barber cutting children, and using my son Charlie as the vessel.
Amazing, man. So it wasn't just one thing for you guys. It was really multiple things. It was like hey, we're in this pandemic. We don't know, can we go outside? Can we not? We don't really know what's going on. But what can we do? Well, we can make something together while we're in here, instead of just all watching different things on the internet or TV or something like that. I really respect that, man. And so I kind of want to leave on a little cliffhanger right there and return to the book a little bit later on, just so we could add context into who you are and what you do. So if we could take it back, if you don't mind, I'd love to know, similar to what I asked Ariel, which is, how did you get into this? You said you've been cutting hair for 20 years. So what was the kind of, start of that journey? What was it? A person? Was it a moment? Was it, in your friend's bedroom? I'm just kind of curious of that start.
So with me, I was a graffiti artist growing up, tagging and doing all that fun stuff. And there was a basketball player named Anthony Mason. He was on the Knicks, and he used to get all these graffiti, like wild style designs in his head. And I saw that, and I was like amazed that could be a medium for art. So that's what first got me interested in like doing hair, cutting hair. And we had a friend, his name was Walter, in North Plainfield, and he was cutting everyone's hair in his house. Like he had like the whole neighborhood lined up. And we would be there, and I'd watch him cut hair, and he was the one doing all the crazy designs. And I'm like, man, I really want to do this. Like, I think I can do it. So one day we were at my friend Kathy's house, Kathy Castano, and she pulled out her dad's clippers, and we were going to cut. It's funny, he's now my brother-in-law, but back then he was just a homie. I'm talking about, we were 16 years old. Yeah. And I was like, give me the clippers, I could do it. And I just started cutting his hair.
You had never cut before?
No, never, nothing. Full confidence. I was like,
let's go.
Let's do it. And whatever, who knows how it came out back then, but it was like that. That's what got me started right there. And then little by little in high school, I had opportunity to go to college on a scholarship for lacrosse, because that was my thing, was playing lacrosse. But it was kind of like a life-defining moment, because I really started picking up the clippers and like practicing on my friends. And I went to a barbershop that I used to get my hair cut at, and I had just finished cutting my friend's hair. Again, my brother-in-law, he was always my my model, right?
Yep.
And I showed the barber, Walter, that was cutting hair at that time. I was like, look at this cut I just did. And the owner of the shop overheard me say that, and he was like, "Oh, you're a barber? You want a job?" And I'm like, man, I've only been doing this for like 2 months, man. Like, nah, I can't work here.
Yeah.
And then his exact words were like, "Listen, go back in the lab, and when you're ready, I'll have a chair for you." And that to me was like, wow. You know, I've been doing this for 2 months, and this type of opportunity is already being presented to myself. Mm-hmm. The next day I go to high school, lacrosse coach comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, Chaz, are you going to play lacrosse this year? I'll get you any college you want. You know, let's go." And right there I kind of had to make a life decision in high school. Yep. Well, am I going to go to high school for lacrosse, which, it would have been an amazing opportunity. But there's not like there's real big professional lacrosse doing all this, doing that. It's kind of like, it's still a smaller sport. It's growing, but back then it was still a little smaller. Or I can cut hair, something that I know that I really love to do, and I can always make a living no matter what. Anywhere in the world, anytime, any place, I can grab a pair of clippers, cut hair, make money, and make a living. And that's the way I dove into, man.
So did you think about it long term like that in that moment, or were you just like, I like cutting hair more, so I'm gonna just do that? Like, no,
I had a vision, man. Okay. I had a vision. Yeah, I had a vision.
And you were how old at that moment?
At that, about 18 years old. Yeah, I had a vision of what I wanted to go with it. Maybe not so much in the celebrity circuit because I didn't really know that existed, but it was more like I wanted to create a barbershop, but also like youth center barbershop where I have kids in, I can mentor kids and kind of help troubled kids, stay away from, the BS. Yep. and the madness, and
it's safe in the shop.
Like a safe haven for kids,
And I think that's a barbershop a good barbershop is, you go there, it's a kind of a detachment from everything else. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody there is good energy. Mm-hmm. You're getting a nice cut. Like you're hanging out with good people, it's kind of a portal, out of life, and maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
No, it's not. It's not an exaggeration at all. It's a common ground because we have all walks of life that come into the barbershop, and when you're there, everyone's like a family or a friend member. When we get there, like I've seen friendships be created from people that didn't even know each other. That was just having a haircut here, and he's having a haircut there. They start speaking about a certain topic, and these guys are best friends in the world right now. You know what I mean? I've seen that plenty of times. So it's a common ground for people to come meet. You know what I mean?
It's like similar to the gym, but at the gym, everybody's so on their own. And they're like, don't look at me, don't touch me, don't talk to me. Yeah. The barbershop, you have to have the community element. Like and I think that's also great barbershops too, where they have it where you don't just know the barber. Like, everybody there. Like, you're also your boys going there as well on the same day. You guys coordinate it so you can get cuts at the same time. Exactly. Like there's all these kind of little community elements that people don't really realize. And so taking it back to or basic, stopping at that, honing in on that position when you were 18 years old, how did that then play out past that point? So like you're 18, you make this decision, but what did that look like in reality? Did you just get that job automatically and then, right from there you dedicated your life to it? Like what did it look 18, 20, 22, 25?
It was me catching 2 buses to go to work at that time. Yeah. So I didn't have a car. I don't even think I had my job. I might have had my driver's license, but I was catching 2 buses to work every day, and I would sit outside nervous out of my mind to even go to work because I didn't really know what I was doing. It was all trial and error. You know what I mean? Like, and even back then, there was no social media, no YouTube. There wasn't even barber school back then. So it was like a clandestine culture that you kind of had to learn on your own, or hopefully a mentor would help you. But even back then, a lot of barbers didn't really want to show you what they were doing because of how they had to learn the same way. So it was that mentality of not sharing and like, no, you're gonna take money off my plate if you come in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and no internet for you to go and just learn on your
own. You can learn anything at home. Yeah, at home, and that's YouTube. And it's great because a lot of young kids, they're catching on quick. Mm-hmm. Not as fast as we had. It took a while for me to get nice with the clippers, man. And it was just all trial and error, buying stuff, trying it. And again, there wasn't even that much equipment as there is right now. Yeah. Like the culture's really developed a lot since then.
Actually, since you touched on it, I mean, can you speak on that a little bit in terms of kind of and I think we were talking about off camera, but like, kind of the industry and the culture around, I guess it's hair and makeup. You can, group those together because that's, kind of the industry itself. But like, how have you seen that change from when you came in at 18 of like, no, don't, I can't teach you because this is my process and I have to learn it on my own to now? Is it a lot more kind of forgiving in that sense, or meaning like somebody like you're going to help somebody, you're going to put somebody on, you're going to help them. You're not going to be like, hey, this is just the way that I do it, man. Like you got to learn on your own. So I kind of see you as a figure of this whole kind of movement. I'm kind of speaking out of turn because I don't know much about it, but I kind of see you as somebody who changed that, who goes, nah, man, I'll show you what I'm doing, like, because I want you to be great too. So this was a really super long question, but like, how have you seen it change over that period of time, maybe this 15, 20 years?
Well, one way I've seen it change, like being a barber back then was kind of like a dirty word, like people would ask you like, oh, you're just a barber and that's what you're gonna do, like, $10 haircuts, and how you're gonna make a living like that, so that was something I always had in the back of my mind, that I wanted to create a culture or be part of that would uplift our community, you know what I mean? So we started doing the shows and having barber shows and teaching classes, stuff that we didn't have, we started putting out there to create this culture, and it wasn't me by myself. There's many players that do this, but we started doing that with a guy named Curtis Smith, who was like one of my first mentors in that circuit. He was Diddy's barber, okay, and a celebrity barber, OG, man. And we started doing these tours and doing classes and putting on these competitions, and it was all upliftment of our culture. And you saw it was a shift that happened like in the past like 10 years. Of where like a barber show would have 10 to 30 people guys show up, and now we have a barber event May 14th that 15,000 people are gonna come from all over the world, all walks of life, and you're looking at it, you're like, this is insane that this is happening right now, because we would go to the hair shows and it was all just beauty, it was all just makeup, it was all just and hair salon.
Would you say stuff. It was, sorry to jump in, but would you say that was more female oriented than? Yeah. Was that a kind of a shift too, or?
But they would always shun the barbers out.
Yeah. Yep.
They wanted to know how to cut like us, but they wanted to keep us out.
So it was like the hairdressers.
So we had to pick the lock and let ourselves in the game, And now we're the cool ones. We're the ones that people are looking up to, and now the hairstylists are taking our barber classes and trying to learn our skills.
Was there? Yeah, I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking back to what you said about, like, oh, $10 haircuts, how are you going to make a living? Was there people at your level then? Like, the celebrity barber, the not $10 a hair? Like, Absolutely, yeah. But they were kind of insulated in their own, like, they weren't out there trying to help the industry out. They were really kind of, like,
they weren't really, like, I mean, there were celebrity barbers back then, but you wouldn't even really have known that because there was no social media to even know what they were doing. You know what I mean? And even back then, like with celebrities and artists, they didn't want all the extra pictures and extra attention. Now it's different. Now they're the ones taking pictures of when they're getting a haircut because they need content for their own personal pages. So like even when I got into the game, it was like no pictures, turn your phones off, don't ask for anything, which is still a rule in some sense now when you start working with celebrities. But it was really like, no, you know what I mean? You're not doing this. So. But again, it's the same. There weren't like really high-end barbershops back then. It would be more of a salon. Like you go get a men's haircut in a salon setting for back then $60, $70, $100, but it wasn't a barbershop. So that was the whole thing. I went from working in like the hood barbershop, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but I don't want to do $8, $10 haircuts. This is not what I want. I want to evolve, right? And I started working in a salon, and my idea was fusing the barber world and the salon world and become into a happy medium to create something different where we can take the salon experience but bring it for the man, where they're getting their hair washed, shampooed, bringing coffee to your clients, a beer, have a glass of wine. That was the concept of bringing a higher end experience into the barbershop world.
Do you think it was a mindset that guys didn't want that? Like they wanted to get in and out for $10. Like there was, do you think was that kind of a shift in the industry too? Because I'm thinking like, the guy, like, I mean, I go to my barber, if there's 5 people in there, and he's great, but like if there's 5 people, he's moving, you know, like it's not it's harder for him to create an experience if there's like a line of people, you know. So do you think the market changed a little bit where guys actually wanted to have an experience?
Yeah, well, guys want to be pampered now, you know what I mean? Like, remember like 10-15 years ago there was a term metro, right? You don't hear that word anymore.
I remember my parents would say it.
You're metro. No one even says that word anymore. It doesn't even exist. Guys now want to take care of themselves. I have guys that 15 years ago that if you would have said, oh, you get a facial done or you know, get your eyebrows done, they're like, get out of here, man. I'm not a sissy, bro. I'm not. And now you see them getting their manicures, their pedicures, skin facials. It's not about being less of a man. It's just about just taking care of yourself. Yeah. It's just self-preservation. You know what I mean? And a lot of barbers, we've learned those skills, and men want it, and men are going to pay for that experience. There's still people that want the in and outs, $10, $15, $20, whatever it is, in and out haircuts. But you can go to Supercuts and all those franchise places. But like, it's just elevated. You know what I mean? You can. There's guys in the shop charging $100, $60, $70. You can make a real legit living and a really good living now.
Yeah, that's interesting that there is the beauty for men now, and it's completely normalized. Because I feel like it almost and now I'm 23, so I really probably didn't realize it was happening, you know, in the last 10 years. Yeah. But I remember going to salons. My mom would take me to salons, and they would cut my hair. Yeah. You know, and I didn't go to the barbershop when I was 10, 11, 12, you know? Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think how that it kind of all changed together. The barbershops were beginning to offer more for men, while the beauty industry was kind of angling towards it, and then socially it became acceptable to go, because now you see on Instagram a guy taking a selfie with his girlfriend with, you know, all the whole, you know, face mask, right? No, back to the masculinity. This kind of and that's probably really what it is too. It's this thing of like, dude, you don't have to be like it's that overly masculine. I can't look this way because I need to present myself like I'm like a guy.
Yeah, exactly, which is fine. Like, no, and listen, I appreciate masculinity because like that's something that's being shot down right now. Like
oh, there's another side to
there's
it
a whole
too.
other side where they're trying to like, you know, I don't want to get into that, but I appreciate, you know, a strong man, but that doesn't mean you don't have to like not take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's just cleaning yourself. That's all it is. Literally. It's literally just cleaning yourself. But you know what? But now even back then you were using like your girlfriend's products, your men's products. But now like there's men's products for self-preservation and for, you know, cleaning yourself, for your under eyes, for your feet. So now it's, you know, again, we have our own lane now. It's not me using my wife's shampoo. We have our own shampoo. We have our own soaps. We have this. So
let me ask you this personal question. Yeah. Have you watched beards change? Have beards become more normal? I don't know if that's a, you know, one-off question there, or maybe there's nothing to that at all. But it seems to me like maybe during this kind of revolution of you know, men being able to take care of themselves and get, you know, spend money and time on their haircuts, it seems like the beard is a part of that. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. A beard. I mean, even like a beard and a mustache back in like ancient times was a sign of royalty. You know what I mean? And then it got shunned down with more like the clean cut style, slick back, like more business setting. You know what I mean? With the suit and tie, which that's even changed too. You know, like you go to the bigger companies like the Googles and the Spotifys, you could wear whatever you want. You could skateboard through the hallway if you want. Yeah. So they're creating more of a fun environment culture, like just be who you are. So it's more self-expression that you're allowed to do now, right? So even with the beards now, like it's a totally different game. There's beard products, there's beard sprays, beard shampoos, beard brushes, and you have guys that are like creating these different beard styles that are so symmetrical and perfect that, you know, that are amazing. You know, you got guys like, there's a guy not too far from your Al Uppercut, you got a guy named Mr. Official, that these guys are like insane with what they do with the beards.
Are you familiar with Jack Black's line of beard products?
Yes.
I use them. I see. I don't know what's good and what's not good, but I got them as a gift, and I've never used beard wash before, but changed the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't realize that I needed it, but it's like it's hair, man.
It's hair on your face.
You have to take care of it.
You have to take care of it.
Same way you would your regular hair.
Absolutely.
Do you think the art of it too changed in this time? Because I look at it the same way as I look at kind of like cooking a little bit, where a chef isn't just somebody making you food to eat it. They're also there's art to the way that the food looks too. And I kind of look at hair a little bit similar, where it was always, female hair was always portrayed in that light of it has to look like beautiful, But do you think that the art of like these fades and like just maybe it's just Instagram where now I just see it all the time, but did you see that kind of change over time too? I don't know how to ask the right question.
No, I know where you're getting at, right? And that's just you with an outside perspective, is that it's always been that. You know what I mean? Especially with like in the urban areas where everything had to be sharp, on point, the beard had to be perfect, the eyebrows had to be perfect. And that's art, you know what I mean? And then honestly, as we're doing it, sometimes we're not realizing it, right? Because we're like the horse with the blinders on. This is just what we do. This is how we create. But then when someone on the outside is like, bro, the way you move that razor, the way you move that, like you're dancing like you're an artist.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you see it, it's always been that. But now it's just more in the light with social media, that people are like, wow, these guys are really, really artists. They're not just that dirty word that I go back to. They're just barbers, that old school guy that's just cutting and get out of here.
Yeah, because and so that must have also been because of the fact that you can book a session and have an hour. Like you can't do those in 10 minutes. You just can't have that type of haircut in 10 minutes, right? It's just kind of impossible.
I mean, there's guys that can rock it like that, but again, let's go back to the experience. You know, I'm more of a quality over quantity guy. I don't want to cut someone every 10, 15, 20 minutes. I want to take my time. I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the experience along with them, so I can create that experience. If I'm just cutting and I've lived that life, cutting and oh my God, I got 10 people waiting. I got 10 people calling me. You know what I mean? That's not a way to live your life, man. I'd rather, you have a company like Squire that's created a booking app that has made our lives easier. You can download their app and you book your appointment. You can see what we have available, how much it costs, how much time is allocated, and there goes your experience right there, right through the app.
Was that a game changer, the digitalization?
Absolutely.
This industry?
Because we were just sometimes writing down our appointments or trying to remember them, and you forget, like, oh my God, I told this guy to come at 10:15. I told this other guy to come at 10:15. Yeah. And now you have people looking at it. It just gave you a better way of living. Like a lot of us, we would never eat lunch, we would never eat breakfast, or we would be, can I use the bathroom real quick? And that's your lunch break.
Oh man.
You'd instead of going to the left of the bathroom, you'd sneak to the right and you'd eat your 2-hour-old egg and cheese sandwich.
Yeah. That was the quantity though. That was the quantity days.
That was the quantity days, because you're cutting for $15, $20 a head, whatever you're doing, and you're just trying to bang out as much as possible to make your money. But now, like, with this culture that we've created, and then you have the Squires, the apps like Squire that can help. Okay, let's analyze this in a proper way and create and treat this like a real business. Yeah,
and wow, that's another topic we can touch on, which I'd like to as well, as kind of the business side. And I think we'll get there. I'd love to come back to your story though. When was and you can kind of definitely explain this better than I can ask this question, but how did it evolve from you working for somebody to you becoming, really having your own business and being a barber? Can you kind of tell that story a little bit, or?
For me, it was just freedom. I've always kind of had a free way of living my life and not really liking people to tell me what to do. And I was just working somewhere where he was just trying to tell me what to do too much. And it wasn't in a sense of me with my ego. It was just more of like, nah, this is not the direction that I want to live my life. And that's when I went and opened up my own barbershop.
So how did you do that? Did you just save up for a while? What I'd like to know the actual steps.
Yeah, we just stacked up, and we had a partner, and we created our shop.
Is it the same one that's?
No. This was one that I created back when I was like 20 years old.
Oh wow.
Called Traces.
So only 2 years after you made the jump.
Yeah, about 2 years later.
So you weren't having it working for somebody. Like you didn't. I'm the same way, man. I went right from college to full time.
I'm down to work for somebody, but it just, I don't know. It has to be a really good working relationship.
Well, it's nice working with clients.
I'll tell you what really happened, man. I was working in this high-end salon, and that was the direction that I wanted to go to. I wanted to cut women's hair, and again, I was just doing the fades and the designs and all that, more like urban style. Excuse me. And I wanted to like elevate my career and learn the higher end of working in a salon, like hairstyling, and I was taking all these classes, and I remember I was going to Costa Rica with my wife. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend back then, and I was taking like a 3-week vacation. But bro, I was like fresh out of high school, bro. Like, you know, I want to like go live.
Yep.
And man, the guy loved me, and he was like, Chaz, listen, you can do this now. You get a 3-week vacation, but don't ever think about asking for a 3-week vacation after this. I was like, and right there I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Note taken.
Yeah, note taken. Like, this is it. Like, this is I like no. And that's what really like put me like wanting to work for myself and do my own thing.
Yeah, and I think for some people they take the jump maybe based on opportunity. They're like, oh, I have to take the jump because I don't have enough opportunities. And I think other people take it for more the freedom side.
I was freedom. I've always been someone that creates my own opportunities. I don't wait for things to fall on my lap and I hope or I wish this happens. Like, nah, I'm going out. I'm gonna make it happen.
I think that's a good way to transition into the, you know, kind of celebrity side of it.
Yeah.
When did that start? Did that start back then when you had your own shop at in your 20s, or when was that?
I mean, so my first start to see that, I mean, so I was also involved in the music business as well. You know, managing artists and doing that.
That was a side thing, or?
Yeah, because music is like a passion of mine. You know what I mean? And so again, the concept with my barbershop, we called it Traces. It was called Traces Barber Lounge, and Traces came from tracing hip hop back to its roots. So I'm like a, how you say, a hip hop enthusiast.
Hip hop head, yeah.
Hip hop head, but like real hip hop, not just rap music. I'm talking about like
Heavy D and like back there
before Heavy D. I'm talking about rock steady Zulu Nation stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, my brother was a b-boy, so he taught me how to. I was breaking at 4 years old and doing my little tag. I used to write ice and you know what I mean. So it's like I'm talking about real like back like 80s like that, the culture of it. You know what I mean? So my whole thing was I wanted to like preserve that and bring that back, especially when hip hop it was going more like in a real bad negative direction, and I was seeing the way that it was affecting the youth. I wanted to start putting on shows, and I started bringing like all these cats from New York, like I would bring like the Rocksteady crews and the Zulu heads come and like do shows for the kids, and I brought a Moto Technique to Summit, New Jersey. Wow. And I remember he performed, and the lady that helped me organize, she was like, who is this guy and what is he saying right now?
Dude, they're like, they listen to, he just performed Dance with the Devil, and there's 16 kids watching him talk about this lady, like, but it's hard, man, but damn.
So I would do that. So I would put on shows. I would even have like the local b-boys and the local rappers come and like, you know, do battles in my shop. You know what I mean? Like, and like that's I wanted that breeding ground, and that goes back to like the vision I had when I was in high school. So I met one of these artists from Jersey. His name was Dayton. He was fire. He's still fire. He was going on 106 in Park. They used to have the Freestyle Fridays battle, and he came to my shop to get a haircut, and you know, he was the homie, and then I cut him, and then he went on Freestyle Friday, and I think he won like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So for 3-4 weeks in a row, I'm cutting hair, and I'm going on BT for 106 in Park, and I'm seeing my haircut there, and I'm like, yo, this is insane that I'm seeing my haircut on TV. And I think that's like really what kind of sparked it, and I was like, yo, this is like a lane I want to go into. Again, though, I didn't know that there was a whole celebrity barber lane. Still didn't know that. You know, it was still unattainable, and this is all pre-social media. And so I left the shop. I ended up selling it, and I ended up touring with the group that I was managing and working with.
What group was that?
It was called T Weapons, Tomorrow's Weapons, and we traveled all over, and I got a piece of that, like that taste of we had success too. We had a song with Pitbull, a song with Notch that went crazy. Like, we were hitting #1 in all these different markets, but we took all our marketing and we weren't really focused on trying to blow up in New York, East Coast area, just because of like how much, you know, how hard it is, and to kind of blow up in the own area you're from.
There's a lot of competition too.
A lot of competition, right? But they say like a prophet has to leave their town in order to become recognized, right?
Yes,
that
you have
whole
to come
saying.
back once you
Once you've done your thing. So we took all our marketing dollars and went to like Texas, Californias, the Arizonas, and we were hitting these all small markets, and we had #1 songs in markets, and we were doing all the summer jams like in Texas, and it was insane. Like we're going to LA, and I'm hearing my song on the radio. My friends are calling me, and we went out there and we had a lot of success. And I did that for a few years. It was a pretty wild ride.
That was in your 20s too, or
that was in my 20s, yeah.
Wow. So what was going on with cutting hair at that point?
I was just cutting the homies on the road.
Yeah.
Before shows.
But you were not. That wasn't like your only job. You were like managing this.
I was managing
too?
them. Yeah.
Wow.
I put my whole heart into that. Yeah.
So, and let me just jump back to something you said real fast. The seeing your haircut on a billboard or etc. live TV, whatever it is, BET.
Yeah.
That has to be a little bit of a perspective shift to go, oh wait, this isn't just for this person that I cut the hair for. This is for all these people watching too. It's just part of the persona of that person now. Exactly. Is that haircut.
Exactly. It's like activating them for their art. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then that was an amazing feeling. So then being on the road is when I started like going to like studios, and I remember like seeing like different artists have their barber pull up and get a haircut. I was like, oh, well, this is a thing. This is a thing, and these people don't even know I cut hair.
That's crazy.
They didn't even know I cut hair, right? I mean, like my group and everything, we don't know, but I never like promoted it like that. You know what I mean? And man, one day I was with my homie, man. His name's Buys One, man. God rest his soul. He just passed recently. I was at his house, and I was staying on his couch in Beverly Hills. So he was our radio guy. He was the one that was taking us all over, taking us to all the radio stations and getting us on the radio and doing the interviews. And he was like schooling me, because I'd never been a music manager. I didn't come from that background, or so he was like my mentor in that sense. And he was taking me, and he was like, listen, you're gonna go to this radio station. Don't talk about this. Make sure you don't talk about this other radio station. And then when you get up there, ask the guys to play beats for you, because my guys were spitters, but it was like in the reggaeton world. So a lot of people thought we were a reggaeton group because we were Latin. And it's like when reggaeton was starting to blow up, the DJs hated reggaeton because the DJs were mostly like hip hop heads. So they were like, listen, all these guys think you're a reggaeton group. So go to the DJ, tell them to play some like old school like 90s hip hop so your guys can spit, because all my guys were spitters. So at the end of the interview, we would do that, and they were like amazed. So to go back to that, was one day I was staying at his house, and I was going through my luggage, like changing, and he saw all these bags of clippers, and he's like, yo, what is that? I said, well, I'm a barber. He's like, what? What are you doing running around managing artists if you're a barber? I was like, bro, because I love music, man. That's what he's like, give me a haircut, man. And he's like, can I get a haircut? And his hair was always like, that was my boy, man. He was like a Rasta he's Mexican, but Rasta vibes, bro. Like he DJ'd for Damian Marley, like legend. Cut his hair, and he was like, bro, this is the best haircut I've ever gotten in my life. Why are you running around chasing this music thing, management? And, this is a crazy lifestyle. And he's like, and then the funny thing was that I was like, listen, I'll cut your hair, but I want you to give me a DJ lesson. So, because he was a DJ, so he gave me a DJ lesson after I cut his hair. And bro, I was being so fluid with it, like blending and mixing. He's like, bro, it takes people like 20 years to learn how to do what you just did. I was like, bro, my thing too is like, if I wasn't a barber, I'd be a DJ, But he said, listen, bro, you should take everything that you've learned through this music game, and like marketing and promoting and management, and just you are the artist. Promote yourself as an artist. And that's what I did, bro. I straight up started making flyers, like looking like I was like like a rap star, a reggaeton star, bro. So my first flyers, man, like with my website, my socials and everything. And I started just creating this persona. And it was myself. It was always, everything I do is authentic to myself. I never go outside who I am. And it just started working, bro.
I just love that you're unapologetic pursuing of just whatever you want to do. If I'll be DJ.
Yeah.
I'll be a manager. I'll be a barber. And I didn't know any of this about you, by the way. So that's crazy to me. And as somebody who I consider myself kind of multi-passionate, or really what it is, it's like I can't just do one thing, you know. It just doesn't. I need to have the getting better at the other things gets me better at the thing that whatever that thing is. Like they all, it's all symbiotic relationship. You know, I'm a DJ too, so I feel I've been since I was 16. You know, we started our own company at 16. No idea what we were doing. You know, events. Then when I was 20, started doing weddings. So I've been doing weddings for the past 3 years. DJ, MC, the whole nine.
There you go.
So same with me, man. I'm like, I could always be a DJ, you know. So but it is really it is what a cool skill to have too. And but I just love, like, man, I rap too, I produce. I've been, you know, releasing music for 5 years. Like that's and I have a business too that's kind of separate from that. But I always still, and me and Devin were talking off camera before you got here too about that, of like really having that balance. It's tough. It's tough because it's like and I talked about this in the last episode or a couple episodes ago, where if you spend time cutting hair, that's less time that you have for whatever those other things are. And I know, you know, obviously you went and built your brands and that became really your life, but you only have so many hours, man. So when you're passionate about multiple things, that's why when he's like, why are you doing this management thing? It's like, well, I like to do it. Like I didn't think that being a barber was the only thing I could do. You know, right? I mean,
I always looked at it as something like I can go back and do it if I want, because I learned this skill. Now it's like I'm still young. I'm only like 23 years old at this time, 24, whatever I was, and I was like, these are opportunities I need to take right now, like live my life. Like everything I did kind of was always like not the normal way of doing things. You know what I mean? Always. It's the definition of this podcast, man. That's why this podcast
was
always kind of like outside the box, and it's just about just creating freedom, man. It really just about being happy. I just want to live a happy life, and I've always just had that vibe since I was young. Like let's just live and you know,
make the same thing for your kids too.
Make the same things for my kids, you know, which was the concept of creating that book as well.
I have like 2 more things, and I'm like dying to go into this book. I have like 2 more things though. Fast forward, Stash Barbershop. How did that come about? Like you said, you were independent. You did this music thing independently as well. You were also cutting hair. Maybe you can even go from the story of cutting that guy's hair and him being like, why are you not a barber full time? So actually that's probably a better way to do it. So then you start to build your brand as a barber, almost treating yourself like an artist, like talent, right? So how did that come about? And then if you could, feel free to skip around. I'd love to talk about Stash and kind of how that came about too.
So I started building my brand as Chaz the Barber, you know. This was back in like the MySpace days. I started making my artist page with hair cutting, and then you started seeing like there were, you know, I'm not the only one that was thinking in the way that I was thinking. You had guys in New York, you had guys in LA, all over the country that had this same mind state of like elevating our craft, that we're doing all these cool things. So the barber industry really started from a BBM chat that this one dude put together, bro, with all these different barbers from all over. And we all started networking and talking with each other. And I heard about this guy, his name was Curtis Smith, who was Diddy's barber. And I was like, man, you know what, like I'm starting to kind of like create my own little opportunity with cutting artists and celebrities, because I had all my industry contacts and my friends, and then people started seeing that I was really pushing the barber thing. So they're like, yo, pull up to my video shoot, man, and do this, and you know. But I didn't know about charging people. I didn't know anything about that world. So Curtis Smith, they were putting a show together in Long Island, and he came through to talk, and I was like, I have to be there. There's probably 10 people there. I drove to Long Island, about 2.5 hours away, and I went to go meet him, you know. And it wasn't like, hey, I wanna like, you know, it wasn't like a thing that I wanted anything from him, but all I wanted was like some information, like hey, listen, you know, this is who I am, this is what I do, these are the opportunities I have right now, you know, what like how should I charge, or what should I do? Like it was just me just asking information, and he gave me the right information, and I was like, man, I really want to be around this guy, you know. But again, I'm not a taker, you know what I mean? I don't want to just take from you. I want to have equal share of energy, you know. I want to be able to provide value with what you're doing, you know. So he has a product line called Exotics Products, And I remember I met him in the Bronx, and I bought 2 cases of products. I didn't even have a barbershop at the time. I just bought it just to put some money in his put some money in his pocket, keep networking.
Give
you know
to
what
get,
I mean?
Give to get.
And he started telling me about these hair shows in Atlanta that he was going to do, and I've never even heard of these hair shows in Atlanta called Bronner Brothers. And I was like, you know what? I'll go. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll go. If you want me to carry boxes or sweep or I wasn't thinking of it. I was just thinking I'll just go, and whatever you need help in, I will help you. And I remember I went with my homie Chef, man. We actually before that, what I did do right was, again, with my music experience and shooting videos and creating this content, we shot a barber video at this shop that I was working at back then. I'm not gonna mention the name because they're whack, but it was a nice shop. So I had Curtis come in and act like he was dropping the product off to us. I looked at it and boom, started using his product. I'm cutting hair. I had one of my producer homies' fingers create the beat for it, and we created like a music style video for it. One of the first of its kind, right?
Almost like a Barber music video.
Like a Barber music video,
wow.
But I'm just cutting hair, showing off my skills.
What these guys do on Instagram now, you was the OG of that.
Yeah. I'll say that. I was the first to do that.
For
first
real.
To wear black gloves, all that.
Don't look it up.
No, I paved the way for a lot of you guys. Not and me and a bunch of my homies. But so we did that, and again, that was me adding value to Curtis because I just created a commercial for him, and a high quality. My boy Johnny Rose, he was shooting all our videos back then, so we created a high quality commercial for him, and then also I had that content in my phone, so when I went to this hair show, nobody knew who I was. I was like, this is who I am, and they were like, yo, that's crazy, because all of it was back then was BlackBerry pictures.
Was this early 2000s or?
This is like 15 years ago. Yeah, early 2000s. Yeah, about that. Maybe about that. So, again, I came in with the high-end, high-quality video, and I was like, this is who I am, this is what I do. And that's how I started getting that little respect. You know what I mean? And people were like, yo, this kid's different. This kid's doing something different. I went with my boy Chef. We went down to Atlanta. I rented like a brand new Escalade. Like, I wanted to go there looking like a rapper. Like, I was going there looking fresh.
Dude, well, that's a testament.
You know
just to jump
in.
It's literally a testament to your good thing you had that music side of you, because you never would have had that kind of brand presence. Like, people will put themselves in a box of, I'm a barber, I'm a carpenter, I'm a this, I'm a that.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Why can't we create something unique and combine these other elements? So it was actually really good that you went and pursued that music, because then you brought it to the barber.
Exactly. And I understood it. And it even helped me when I was working with rappers and artists and athletes, because I understand the culture and how to be in that setting, how to be around them. It's not me seeing them and getting wide-eyed, like, oh my God, yo, I'm here with such and such. Oh. It's just like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? Because I've been dealing with these people for already. You know what I mean? Maybe inside I was a little like, oh shit, like this is such and such. But I was never going to show that to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So can you talk about that too? I mean, your perspective, another kind of something else that opens up your perspectives on the world is talking to these artists in an intimate setting where you're cutting their hair and they don't have people chasing them, and some of these artists are at this level. I'm not even exaggerating in terms of paparazzi, and you get into the Nas and whoever you're talking about. So what were those conversations like? Is it did that kind of change anything for you? Like, if you look at the conversations you had when you were cutting hair at 18 versus talking to a celebrity, did it make you realize, oh, like, all humans are the same, we all go through the same things, or was it really a different experience, like talking to these people?
Man, I'll be honest with you, bro. I treat them like regular people, bro, and I think that's what they like. I'm not, oh man, like, again, with the wide eye, like, oh dude, oh bro, I was like, I just speak when spoken to. Like, sometimes I can have a great conversation with the same artist and then cut them 2 weeks later and they're quiet or they're on their phones. I let them have their space because of everything that they're dealing with. They could be thinking about, I gotta remember this lyric before I go on, or I have to remember, I'm doing this interview over here, or they have all this, their life's a whirlwind. You know what I mean? And the only time they're gonna have some type of like comfort and calmness is when they're sitting in my chair for the half hour, 45 minutes, and why would I want to be in their ear like, oh, yo, you know, like, bro, my boy produces, or
you should do this,
yo, my cousin rap, yo, you should rap about like, you should rap about llamas, because people love llamas now, you know what I mean? Like, yo, like, you know, like me, I'm just, I let them set the vibe, and if they're feeling very talkative, we talkative right back. If they're quiet, we quiet right back, you know, and just, hey, how you doing? Good to see you, and leave and do my job.
I understand if you don't want to talk about this, or if you don't talk about specific people, but I just like the MGK video. I just thought that was really fun, man.
Which one?
The one where he was talking to you guys. He was talking to your, like, this is for, you know, it was for your kids.
Oh, remember for the kids, right? Yeah. So listen, man, like,
maybe
so,
Natalia can speak on watching that video too.
Yeah, how was it watching that video? And then I'll tell you how that came about.
Yeah, it was crazy. So my sister Juliana, or Gigi, like in the book. So she would literally be crying over something, I don't know. She would be like crying, like bawling. And then she would turn on the radio, switch on MGK, and immediately she would just stop. Just stop.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. MGK.
Oh, so that was more special than just like, hey, it's MGK. Like, no, like,
yeah, it's Uncle MGK. Yeah.
Uncle MGK.
So I've been working with MGK for, again, like, I guess like 12 years. Like, I had been already getting into the celebrity circuit. But I was more filling in for people, you know, like, hey, I can't make it, can you go cut Diddy? Can't make it, can you go cut Usher? You know, I was filling in, right? Then my boy Curtis called me, he goes, listen, Puff just signed this new kid, man, some crazy white boy. I don't know what his name, I think his name's like Machine, I don't know. He goes, can you go cut him? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Went to the Times Square Hotel. And it was him and like Slim, Dre, was all the guys, bro, all in one room. But again, they were just young kids, bro, like just that drove from Cleveland to New York for their opportunity. And MGK wanted to change his hairstyle. Is when he wanted to do like start doing a mohawk. So I started I cut his hair for the first time, cut him, did it. And they loved it. He loved it. They were mad cool, but they were also mad young. He had less tattoos, the whole nine.
Yeah, but
you know
don't people... That just made me realize how long MGK's been in this, because he was back then... like, I don't know, and I know Devin knows because he loved... You know, he loves MGK, too.
Yeah.
And he's honestly put me on him more so. But you realize, like, yo, this is not a new... Like, this is somebody that just came on the scene. But, like...
He was, like, 20... He's 31 now, so I think he was like
11 years ago or whatever. Yeah,
so he was like maybe 19. So I remember he couldn't get a Ciroc deal because he was too young, and that's when all the whole Ciroc thing was popping. But yeah, so I cut him, and then like 2 weeks later, he called me. He goes, "Yo, Chaz, what's up, bro?" He goes, "I'm gonna be back in New York. Can I get a haircut? They're gonna announce that I got signed on MTV." And I'm like, "Of course, bro. You know, like I got you." Yeah. And he was like, "How much? How much for the cut?" And I was like, I think back then I was like, I don't know, 100 or 150. He was like, "Oh man, I don't got it like that right now, bro." He's like, "You know, I got my deal, but they haven't released the money." And this is all public information. He'll tell you the story himself. I actually have something in my Instagram where we went live and we spoke about it. And I'm like, "Bro, don't worry about the money, bro. Like, I'll cut you for free." You know what I mean? I said, let's just grow. Like, you're building your career. Yep. I'm in the beginning of building my career. Like, let's just grow together. You know what I mean? And it was my first opportunity to have like my own artist that I'm gonna work with. He's mine. You know what I mean? And we get to grow. You know? And he was like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You know what? Just tweet." This was like before Instagram. Like, just tweet something, shout me out or something like that. You know what I mean? Whatever. And I was happy just to have my haircut again on MTV and have that building my portfolio. You know what I mean? So it was also the opportunity, not just thinking about the money. That's what a lot of people right now, they just think about the money. Like, the blessing isn't always in the bag. You know what I mean? The blessing is in the opportunity and creating these opportunities and letting it grow. People want instant gratification and instant satisfaction. This is not what that is. You know what I mean? In any industry. So cut his hair, bro, and that was the beginning of us building a relationship, bro. You know, and then from there, man, we did WrestleMania together, countless magazine covers, music videos, working with other artists, meeting other managers through them that had me portal into other artists, and it was just like everything kind of just went like that, bro.
Yeah, I want to touch on something you said. I believe truly that those who play the long game win the long game. Like,
absolutely,
those
bro.
who play the short game win the short game. That's just the game. That's it. If you want a bag, you will make small sacrifices to get the bag in the moment. You know, to make the money in the moment.
Yeah.
But that only lasts you as long as that money lasts you. It's like you gotta work. You gotta always be thinking about 10 years from now, 15 years. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you got to pay bills and stuff like that. But you're right, and I think that. I also think it's a little bit of like a hustle culture thing that's going on where people think that all this stuff happens so fast. It's like, none of this happens fast. You got one name. Like, you need to have that name not, stay clean for 80 years,
Exactly.
This is way bigger.
Exactly. And it's just instant gratification, man. We live in a microwave world right now where they just want to press for, cook their food for 30 seconds and it's ready. You know what I mean? That's not what it is. It's like Rome wasn't built overnight, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like every step that I took, like, and my wife is to attest, man. Like, man, I've been grinding for years. Like, I've been knocking on doors. I've been going to the city. I've been traveling and doing things that sometimes I don't even know why I'm doing them, but I'm there to create these opportunities. And something may or not happen, but all these relationships that I've been able to create and helping people along the way has helped put me on this kind of like solid foundation that I'm sitting on right now, where I'm able to create a children's book with my daughter and it makes sense. It's not like I'm just like, you know what I mean? It just goes back to be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna be a children's book author now. I'm a celebrity barber.
But you've always been
this
like
and
that.
Yeah. But I've always, and it also goes back to like even back when I'm 18, where I wanted to create a community center in my barbershop. Now this is my community center because this is helping kids. So it all correlates. It all makes sense.
So
I don't think I did it on purpose, but like kind of like mapping out my life and talking with you and seeing it, I can see where like this brings it to here and everything is, and that's just me always being true to myself and me being like who I am. And now I want to instill those morals and that character and that hustle and that ambition, that grind to my kids. Yo, bro, when the world was shut down, you know what I was doing, bro? Tell him what I was doing.
Yeah.
He was delivering pizzas.
I was delivering pizzas, bro.
What did you think when he was delivering pizzas?
At the same time, I was kind of shocked, but I knew he would do whatever it would take to put food on the table. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah.
Wow, that must be interesting to you to kind of see your dad have that mindset.
Yeah, because back then, he was like a celebrity barber. He was cutting like a lot of people, and then now here he is delivering pizzas.
Man, I love it. It's you know what I actually didn't do it this past winter, but like I love plowing snow, man. I love getting in a truck and like plowing snow. It's like super simple stuff that it's not for them. It's just like kind of a thing that you like. It's just delivering pieces. It's like nothing is. It's only low on the totem pole if you consider it low on the totem pole. You know,
exactly.
Like it's crazy.
It was one of those things. Like I'm not working for 3 months. Like my father one day, and he doesn't know the impact that had on me. When I was a kid, we drove by McDonald's, and I don't know what it was. People always look down on people that work at McDonald's, or whatever. And my dad was like, if I had to, I would work at McDonald's if I had to provide for you. I might have been like 8 years old when he told me that, and that resonated with me, bro. And to see, I was like, listen, I'm not working for 3 months. I didn't have to deliver pizzas, right? But it was more of like, I want my kids to see that daddy is gonna do whatever it takes to put food on the table. You know what I mean? And they were like, "You're gonna go deliver pizzas?" And they would make fun of me because I'm delivering pizzas in a Mercedes at the pizza place.
Yo, the Uber Eats guy, his car costs as much as our house, dude. What?
So it was, but again, it was going back to just show that work ethic that I'm not gonna just sit down and be like on Netflix watching whatever was popping at that time. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep creating different opportunities. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now, I just created my own pizza line.
No way.
No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
I believe it 100%, dude. Dude, if you could tell me anything, Chaz, and I would believe you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like,
no, you're playing. Sheik did the pizza line. That's her thing.
Maybe we should start a pizza line.
All right, no, too many ideas.
Too many ideas, yeah.
So funny, man. But I used to get mad. Just to that point, I used to not mad, but like my dad used to pick me up from the soccer game, and he'd be like, yeah, you don't have anything to do, right? I'm like, no, like, what do you like? Let's go home. Let's get something to eat. He's like, all right, but we just got to go to this house, hang a little sheetrock. I'm like, dude, I just played a soccer game and lost, and now I gotta go help you put sheetrock up, and I'm like 14. But thank God that he did that, because I got that work ethic. You know, he would. You know, like I said, he was a pipe insulator, man. He would come home, and then he would go. He still does it now. He's 60 years old. He still does it now. I'm gonna go work at Mike's. I'm gonna go I'm gonna do a little roof over here. Like it doesn't stop, man. And what he actually, and now my sister has it too. It's the not being able to turn down things, and then you get too overloaded. Yeah. Because you're good, you show up on time. You know, you're a good person. You overproduce and all that stuff. So people like that, but then people will put you to work, and you'll take all these opportunities. And that's kind of a question I have for you is. Have you had to think, especially with having kids and a family and stuff, like, I bet it was a lot easier to go and do that cut at 11 o'clock at night or whatever back when you were 26 rather than now. Like, how do you look at kind of managing your time and kind of how that's evolved for you?
I mean, listen, man, I have the support of a wife, bro, that holds it down for me, dog.
Respect.
like, you know, I have a good support system, you know, because they understand my vision, you know what I mean? And again, it's the long game. So like, if I didn't have her, like, to be able to take care of the kids, and it also helped with, like, you know, my mother and my mother-in-law, they're great big helps. We all live within, you know, very close to each other. I just have a good support system, bro. But like, she's been holding it down for me. We've been together since we were kids, bro.
She needs her own. You need her own episode.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we've been together for like 24 years, bro.
Wow. So
she's been with me through everything, bro. Through thick, through thin, through. She's seen me at my highs. She's seen me at my lows, and she's always just held it down. You know what I mean? And stuck with me. Yeah. Through all my crazy ideas and my madness, bro.
Yeah.
But now, like, she's like, damn, everything you did now is like really starting to pay off.
I know, because I'll be telling me and my girlfriend been together for 2 years, and I'm like, hey, I gotta, like, I'm doing this on a Sunday for a reason. Like, it's not like that's what I'm doing. Like, just so you know, like, it's this is all, like you said, this is all 10, 20, 30, 40. Like, this podcast isn't going anywhere, man. You know, like, so, but that's all it is. And you know, she gets it. It makes it difficult, but she gets it. You know, but it's like if you don't have though. If people don't understand it, they're never gonna understand it. That's the thing. Like, you either get it or you kind of don't.
Yeah, I'm at the point now too in my career where, like, I don't have to say yes to everything, bro. I'm not outgrind anybody, bro. And I know, like, okay, I'll go here or I'll go there. I don't have to go to everything now. It has to make sense. You know what I mean? So that's also too because I've seen a lot of guys that have lost their wives or lost their kids chasing something, but it's only for their own, like, self-fulfillment, bro.
Can I say something?
Like being popping on social media. Go ahead. Yeah.
So it was my grandpa's birthday, his dad's birthday, like a few months ago, and he got called for like this like major like celebrity, but it was his dad's birthday, and even like if it would do something for his career, he was not gonna miss his dad's birthday just because of one call.
Yeah, and that's really good that your kids see that too, because it's like, and also, but it comes down to it, like, you got to go to the soccer games, you got to go to the baseball games,
everything. Like, I won't miss any of that, bro. I don't miss.
But you grinded to get to the point.
I grind
where you
to get there,
be
to
able
do that.
to do
I'm
that.
like, nah, I'm cool. I'm not doing that because, and there's also build community around what I'm doing too. So like, I have the Ariels and I have the other guys that I want to build them up as well, so I can now. It's their time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's their time. So if they're gonna go out there, they're still representing me, bro. So it's still the energy that I'm putting out there into the world. Now they're like tentacles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's going out there, and that helps me, right? Yeah. Because now they know it came from me. He did an amazing job. They're still gonna call me first, but it's also about building the people up around you. You know what I mean?
The momentum of a company too, and a business, and really just company is like a corporatized name for it. It's really just a community of people who are working towards one goal.
Yeah.
It's not like you have you and then Ariel and that's double. Not like having another person is like triple, and then another person's like quadruple, and it just multiplies itself.
Yep.
And you could never do with one person what you could do with a team like that. And then you are bringing those people up because they are part of your legacy too, you know? And it's amazing. Man, I feel like I could talk probably about just being a barber for another hour, but I would really, because there's so many different doors, man. Listen, I mean, this is not the first time we're going to do this too. Would love to leave some cliffhangers for next time. Do it.
Let me talk about Stash real quick though, because I don't want to leave Stash out real quick. So Stash, we created, it was me and my partner Checo, man. Someone that I adore, bro. He's like a little brother to me. Now he's like my older brother, which is funny.
Yeah.
But we were working in a shop together. We weren't happy with where we were at. You know what I mean? And we're like, listen, man, let's just go off and do our own thing. And we created Stash out of his parents' basement, bro.
No way.
Yeah. We put 2 chairs in his basement, and we were cutting hair while we were building our shop, Stash. And the same thing, we just wanted to create culture. You know what I mean? We wanted to have a dope spot, high end, but not pretentious. Somewhere people can come and feel comfortable. If you ever come to the shop, you see it's like you feel like you're at home. And that was the whole concept of creating it, like you're in a home. And all good vibes. We have all like masks from all over the world. We're playing reggae. We got the Rasta vibes. Worldly vibes. We have a Buddha in the center, in the middle of the shop to create balance.
The bathroom's really cool.
The bathroom we have painted by a wonderful artist named Martha Alicia. She just created this whole like world in the bathroom. And yeah, we've been going 9 years, bro. And again, bro, like we have this little shop in Union, New Jersey, but man, we've had MGK pull up. We've had Corday pull up. We've had all types of people pull up, and they walk in. People are like, "How are these people coming to this shop in Union?"
Yeah.
And again, it's just we built these relationships, man.
But it's not about how big your shop is. You know,
it's like, actually pretty big. It's not small. It's not small at all, actually. But
it's not about it being in Times Square.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm
exactly. Yeah. It's about what's going on inside of it, and that's really
culture.
And it seems like, just judging by what you said, even about the bathrooms, like the attention to detail, it seems like you have kind of definitely maybe as a barber, you have to have that attention to detail. But I think it probably seems like it carries through. I've never been there, but from everything I've seen, man, I love it, man. And just to have that, like you said, that kind of homey feel, that community feel, not like get your hair cut and get out, you know, really spend some time there. That's awesome, man.
We're doing a book signing probably like next month. You should pull up.
Oh, I'd love to. Just give me the date. Yeah. Okay. Hell
Maybe we'll do a mobile podcast there or something like
Let's
that.
do it, Dev. You down? Let's get it, man. Put some cameras up, man. Do some interviews.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
100%.
Awesome.
You just mentioned the book. I'd love to dive into it. Maybe Natalia, can you maybe start us off and like give us a little bit of kind of how your side of it, how this book kind of came about, you know?
Okay, so it was actually in the works for like a very long time, right? Not a very long time, but just maybe when I was like a few years ago. And he first gave me the idea. He said, "Hey, Natalia, I'm writing a book about Charlie, and do you want to help me?" I'm like, "Sure."
And Charlie's your brother?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's over there. So this book, it's really started out small. It started out in like Google Notes, just like putting down ideas. And like the concept of the book is basically when kids get their first haircut, it's scary, obviously. But I feel like there aren't that many books about getting your first haircut. There's books about the doctor's visit. There's books about the dentist visit. There's books about the first day of school, but no one really talks about haircuts. And if you read the book, you can see he talks about this. He's like, oh, Charlie was scared. Oh, Charlie was worried. No, Charlie was curious. What is a haircut? What is a clipper? What is this? So it was really not about fear. It was just about preparing kids for getting their first haircut.
Wow, brilliant explanation too. I appreciate that. So how did your thought change on, okay, we're gonna write this book, and then going to actually write the book? Like, what was your expectation of writing a children's book? Like, did you think about it, or did you guys just kind of, like you said, started with some notes and went there?
We started with some notes, but I didn't really think like it would actually. I'm gonna be honest. Like the first time we started it, I just thought this was gonna just be on Google Notes, like a fun little thing. I never thought it would be on Amazon. I never thought like all this would be happening.
So how did it go to the next level from just the notes then? Like, what was the next kind of step?
The next step was we found an illustrator.
Yeah.
Jason Velasquez, very talented.
Beautiful illustrations too.
Yeah.
They're so nice.
Yeah, and then we really started to start. So he started his own publishing company. and we started really like editing it. We had like meetings in my room, like, right?
Yeah, we were doing Zoom meetings with the editor and with the publisher, and I had her involved in every step. I wanted her to see how we could take this fun little idea that we put on Google Notes and actually create and make it happen. Yeah. So I every step of the way, I had her on the Zoom meetings talking. You know, we had like a list of different editors and publisher or illustrators, and we like simultaneously were like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Like there was no like, nah, I like this. It was like, no, that's the one.
He gave me like, he sent me like a bunch of like, hey, which illustrator do you like? And we both looked at the illustrators and we said, this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like my little twin right here, man.
I know. I'm just like taking it all in. Yeah. Wow, no, you could have your own podcast, your own publishing company. I think start writing your. Well, let me ask you a personal question. What do you, So you see your dad doing all these things, whether it's cutting hair, or delivering pizza, or you guys writing a book together. Like, do you think about what you're gonna do when you get older? Like, do you want to do like the similar things like that? Could you see yourself writing a book or cutting hair, or any of these things? Or
yeah, totally. So in like a few years, like maybe like a year or two ago, I actually had a Google Doc, and every day I would come home and write stories. And even when I was like in first grade and second grade, I had a poem book. It was like just a little book of animal poems. So I've always loved writing. Since like the day I learned to read, I've always loved books. I've always loved reading.
Any books that you recommend that are like, what are your favorites to read now?
My favorite book is probably Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I really like the book because it covers like serious topics such as like immigration and like people like being like discrimination, but it also combines it, like covering those topics, it combines it into a fun story, and there's characters, and it's very suspenseful.
I appreciate the recommendation.
I love her style of writing.
What do you think that in this kind of like social media world, like I think people have this fear that the kind of written word or like reading long form books, and we kind of touched on the attention span and everything's microwavable. Do you think that that's like lost a little bit kind of in this digital world? Like you're how old are you?
I'm 10.
You're 10 and you love reading books, you love writing.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's kind of like lost a little bit in kind of these newer generations of everybody's like on their phone? Or
honestly, yeah, cause now like in school, like my teacher would say pull out a book. And then some kids would go straight to being on the computer, like an audiobook or listening to a book, and that's fine, but you have to have a balance. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, they think, wow, like this is just, like we have the internet now, we don't need these. Like in school, like we covered a topic about like doing in cursive or not. People are saying, you don't need to write in cursive anymore because we have the internet, and that's true, but I feel like we shouldn't get rid of like paper and pen just yet, you know?
Yeah, because what if you have to write a check or just write your signature even is going to be in cursive anyway.
Or just be human.
Yeah, just be a person. I mean.
And if you find like an old letter like written by your grandma or something, then like, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome though that you found that. And well, did you have like, were you into writing at all? Like this is completely her own thing, like, or
this is her own thing.
Yeah,
man.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, no, I wasn't into.
Well, I think we know who's writing the next book. She's gonna be blowing you out of the water.
I was writing on walls. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly. Still art, man. Still art.
Yeah.
And it is an art, and you know, and I really feel that because I'm a words person. Like I've always been. I'm not a numbers person.
No.
Analytics, like math, nope. Was never my thing. It was always writing. It was always that. So yeah, it was like the same for you.
Yeah, read like. Ever since, even in like preschool, we were like first learning to count like 1, 2, 3. Like, I've always been more of an arts, like art, writing, reading, social studies. Not really like a math, science, number like equation person.
Yeah. So did you see that too? Like when she was growing up, you're like, oh wait, she's really on this words thing.
No, she was writing poems and coming up with concepts and reading at such an early age, but really well written and well like thought out creative stuff. And me and my wife used to be like, wow. Yeah. And, you know, my mother would read to her every single day. We
used to read like 10 books
10 books a day.
Yeah.
And like my family, like they're really into books, like book heavy.
My grandma, or we call her my tita. Like she would, if she could, she would sit there all night and go through like 10 books.
Yeah. So there's a lot of books in our household, and we always would take trips to Barnes and Noble, and we still do. You know.
Yeah.
So I want to keep them away from this world as much as I can as a protector, bro. Like. And kind of just create our own vibe, we're our own tribe, man. And I just try to deal with like-minded people, bro. And it's a crazy world out there, bro. So if I can protect them, and we can create our own lane as a family, and that's the beautiful thing is like everyone in this book is my family member. The kid Max, that's my son Charlie's best friend. The dude Jocko is the guy that I work with on a TV show in New Amsterdam. We did a child version of him, and to be able to like do this process with my kids and my family, and now they're involved in like, we have the show coming up, so they're helping me with like getting the merch and getting stickers and this, and my wife's doing this and I'm doing that. That's what I want, bro. That's all that I want, is to be able to us be like a little traveling circus, man.
And I love the book because like you don't just make up characters. Like going through the book, like, oh, that's Max, oh, that's Jocko, like, oh, that's me, oh, that's you, like. It's really fun because we all made it as a family,
And you mentioned like your favorite book, what is it, Front Desk?
Yeah.
In the same way, you now just created a front desk for somebody else, because this book could be their favorite book. Isn't that kind of crazy? Is that the crazy thing about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and with the reach that the book has, it's definitely happening, Yeah. Definitely, I don't know. You have to be one of the youngest best-selling authors or something. I mean, I don't know what the stats are, but
I think it's up there, man.
I think
right?
I could say that. But yeah, so I'd love to learn a little bit more about like the process too of it going, like I mentioned, it going from this Google Doc to then becoming a book. And so we kind of stopped there on the illustration. Once you got the illustration, then where did it go from there? Was the writing was done at that point, or then once the illustration was chosen, or I have no idea about the process of how this works. So
you want to go, or you want me to?
Well,
all right, we'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
So once we started getting the book formatted, we all right, we could talk about how you first made me, right?
Oh.
This is so funny. For the illustrator.
Okay, so basically for the illustrator, Jason, we sent him pictures of, because like I mentioned before how everyone in the book is like a family. So we didn't know if like we wanted to send pictures of this like kid to the illustrator, so we just described him like, oh, dark curly hair, and Jocko, like obviously there's pictures of Jocko. And so he sent him like a picture of him, kind of like what he's wearing now. He was wearing this like jacket, this gold chain, like the hat, and then they made him look like a reggaeton, like a rapper or something. Yeah,
the first father character. I had like my hat to the side like this, chain, T-shirt. I look like a shaped out beard, and I'm like, bro,
who is this dad, man? He's just recording an album,
I look like Nicky Jam. Yeah, be looking like
with the ripped jeans.
Yeah, I was like, no, this is like, I need a family book. Like, we need to be able to translate to all.
And then
he went from there to putting me in a full suit. I look like a pastor, and I'm like, bro,
can we get a balance?
Yeah, we need. Put me in the middle. I need the medium.
They put him in a flannel suit. They put him in like.
Yeah, it was hilarious, but they got it right. They put me in a white T-shirt, flannel.
It's a funny thing to talk about.
It's funny. It's funny, and that was part of the process, like the editing, right? The funny, the story to talk about, and then I started working with my publisher Peter, man, and he put me through all the steps, man, like and it was pretty seamless, bro, to be honest with you. And bro, we debuted April 5th, number 3 on Amazon, dude, and then 2 days later on my mother's birthday.
I was at home sick, just watching TV, kind of miserable, and then he comes downstairs. He's like, "You won't believe this! It just hit number 1 on Amazon."
Yeah.
Not what you guys expected, I guess.
No, I didn't expect that at all.
Bro, just the thing of knowing that it was going to be on Amazon was enough.
Yep.
As part of like showing my children how we can take this idea and actually create a product. Mm-hmm. But then it hit number 3, we were like, yo. And then they hit number 1, and this is with no marketing push, bro. This is just me on Instagram.
Just like posting one little post on Instagram saying, I wrote a book with my daughter.
Yeah.
And so like it just kind of it's all just started right now, man. Like this is the beginning, you know. And then again, it goes back to my ideas is creating legacy for myself and for my children. You know what I mean? Like, because again, books are like music royalties. This publishing is going on. This is gonna happen forever. But go ahead. What's that?
When we got here, like we talked about it like off camera. We said like my kids. Well, it's like if this book continues to do well, like books are forever.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And some of the most famous books have hundreds of years old and still in circulation.
Exactly.
Still, or you even have like 1984 being top 20 for the last 50 years or something like that.
And what's crazy, we still maintained top 50, top 100.
Yeah.
In the past month on this book, which is like, this is wild. So like it shows that like we can really create culture behind this Charlie movement, you know, with, you know, we got Charlie's First Christmas, Charlie's First whatever, and do character development, you know, with my younger daughter, you know, we have the girl version, Gigi's first haircut, you know, and it's funny because Gigi's super creative too. She brings a lot of ideas. Like you want to come over here, Gigi? You want to sit on my lap?
Want to come on the podcast? She can if she wants, but I don't mind.
So yeah, we're just keep creating and building out this brand.
Like we would be in the car and she would chime in like, oh, how about Gigi's first this? How about Gigi's first that? Like
they're all thinking of ideas now. So again, it's why I'm building up my kids,
planting seeds
and building up their personal character, their confidence. You know what I mean? Like showing them like we can do this, and we can do it as a family unit.
Yep.
And that's just something I've always wanted for my whole life is like we just rock together. You know, let's just rock out.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just come move out here around your way and just create books and don't even have to deal with the outside Babylon world.
Hit me, man. This is a great place to write a book, I'll tell you that. You want some serenity out here?
For real, bro.
Man. So what about like your friends and stuff? Like, did they like have any opinion on it, or like were you telling them while it was going on, or like?
So I first told my teacher, Miss Morris. She's an amazing teacher. I love her. And I first told her like, hey, do you know I wrote a book? And she was like shocked. I didn't even tell her it was Charlie's First Haircut. I just said I wrote a book. And then like the word got around with like the teachers, and like fast forward like a month later or something, there was a tap into like article.
Oh yeah, we got that like the local newspaper did an article on us, and it reached like 90 different cities.
The thing is with the article, it gets sent on everyone's email. So people who I had never met before started coming up to me and said congratulations on the book, and I actually read the book to the class. Yeah, it was really fun, and like a lot of people were showing their support. Like, I'm gonna order it and you have to sign it, and like my friends were calling me saying I got the book. Next time you come over, like let's sign it. You know, it was really great. They were all very supportive.
I have to say, like, in coming back to what we're saying of kind of like this Instagram world and kind of social media world, anybody can have X amount of followers or be famous online or something like that. But if you have a book, the book has to be good. There's no way around it. Like it's all about the work, you know, like you can't fake that, you know, and you have something that, you know, especially in this age you're at, and it's a cool kind of cross period where you can publish your own book and then have it be number one, and then but on the other side of it, it's like everybody's like internet, just Instagram, all that stuff, and it's like, nah, I could just write a book
and be herself
and be myself that way, and it's much more tailored to your personality, and it's a raw form, and like you said, your name's on that forever.
Yeah,
so
and you know what, like we were at home the other day and his friend called and he said, like, do you know what? And this is very true. He said a lot of people, they have a book in the works. Like, people started hitting him up saying, like, I wrote a book too. Like, I wrote a book. But half of the people, most of the time, they don't even get it published. They don't even do anything with it. They just have like this book just sitting around, not getting it published.
When when you make an album and then people are like, oh man, I rap, I used to rap, you know, it's like,
oh dude, bro, you know how many Mr. Me Too's I got phone calls like, oh bro, yeah, I was writing a children's book too. I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. Like, yeah, a bunch of Mr.
Where's it at? Like, yeah.
But then another thing too, again, we go back to you say with the social media, right? So like, I've always kind of safeguarded my kids about posting them on my Instagram and all this, you know. But again, now I'm creating you know, with her, it's her herself. We're not chasing trends. I don't want her to be a TikToker, chasing those little hashtags, those trends to become known. Like I want
those dances.
I don't want this. That's not what I want. You know what I mean? I want to build up a strong woman. You know what I mean? That doesn't need to be like the rest that we're seeing. What's going on right now? You know what I mean? And again, all part of my plan. All part of my plan. Of our plan is building strong human beings, bro. Like future leaders.
Ever since I was like 2 or something, maybe not 2, but like ever since I learned to talk, he always told me like stuff like don't be like a sheep, don't like be a leader, not a follower.
Planting seeds, baby.
Don't be a sheep, and I'm like, what do you mean I'm not a sheep? But now
she's thinking like the animal.
Yeah.
But now I realize what he meant, and it's really important to tell kids that, because it's like such an important message.
Yeah, you're very far beyond your years. I know people probably tell you that, but for real, yes, you like. I can't wait to see what you create and write in the future. This is just the beginning, it seems. For both of you and your career. You just started your career at 10 years old. You're an author. It's amazing. Is there anything that you'd like to touch on in terms of the book that I didn't ask that you guys want to talk about?
What do you think?
You have anything? I think it just goes back to like with the book, like you know, there's nothing about fear in the book. It's all about, you said, about him being curious about what it is and showing the social setting of like what we touched on before is like when he gets to the barbershop, he sees his friends getting a haircut and he's like, oh wow. And then they go on an adventure, like, oh, like, you know what I mean? And it kind of goes back to what we were saying is like how people plan stuff around going to the barbershop with your friends, but now it's doing it in a children's manner. You know what I mean? Like this is baby food for the future. You know, so like, and then you see at the end of the book too, another thing that we did, is that,
and we can overlay some of this too, and you can put it up to the camera though, and they'll be able to see it.
Like right here, we put a gift certificate at the end of the book, right? Or a certificate where my first haircut. So now the barber can fill it out, the parent can fill it out with the date and the barbershop. So then now like. This is a special thing to keep forever, because now you have this book that helped your kid be eased and then relax in the barbershop, and now you have a memory forever with his again. You can put again. You say you can put his picture there, the barber, the address, and everything. Wow. So now you're keeping this book forever. So now again, this is like a book that I feel can always be there forever.
Yeah, and so do you see it being in barbershops too? Like, all right, so let's touch on that. Barnes and Noble, Amazon.
Barnes and Noble's, we're on Barnes and Noble. We got picked up by Barnes and Noble. We're on Amazon. We're on Walmart.com. We're distributed into 20,000 outlets, so anyone can really pick this book
up. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
She's like, no, that's normal for me.
Yeah, it's whatever.
No,
whatever.
It is.
But now we're creating our own website.
Okay. Yeah.
Should be done in about, by the time this podcast comes out. It should be
and
done.
We'll make sure for everybody listening and watching, we'll link that in the show notes. So
cool, it's going to be www.charliesfirsthaircut.com. Yep. And we'll be selling the book. We'll have some other products like t-shirts, combs, bags that you can keep the hair in. Like if you're first snip, you keep the hair in.
Like how when you lose your first tooth, you keep in a little tooth box.
Yeah. Charlie loses his first tooth.
Hey, write it down, guys. Get to it.
Write it down. We're gonna go take a walk at the farm.
It's perfect. That hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't even happened yet.
So,
right?
What do you guys? You just touched on it, but like, what do you see for the next few years in terms of what you're gonna continue to create? And either you guys can answer this question, but what's the future looking like? You just did this. It made a massive impact that you didn't even realize it would have. So, what's on the horizon like?
Should I start and then you chime in?
Go ahead.
We're thinking. So like I mentioned before, we're thinking Gigi's first. Maybe a haircut book for girls. Maybe like Charlie's first this, Charlie's first that. Like how I just said, Charlie loses his first tooth, and maybe me writing a book on my own, like him writing a book on his own, and I feel like this Charlie's first thing. It's like a collaborative thing for the whole family.
Yeah.
If we write a book, if we want to write a book on our own, we will. But this Charlie's first haircut, this Charlie's first this, Charlie's first that, it's really a thing between us. That's why it's so special.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. This was so much fun to do. I thank you, Natalia. Thank you, Chaz, for doing this today. I really appreciate you guys coming to do the podcast. Thank you, Devin, for making the connection. Yes, sir. Thank you two for being here as well. You three, thank you guys. I know you're an integral part of this as well. If I had more cameras, I'd have you guys on too. Next time we got to get her on too. We got to get everybody in, man.
Barber wives.
Yeah. But let people know. And you don't have social. You're not doing a social media thing, right? In terms of, I'll just make sure that I just linked the book. But you're on the Instagram. Just let people know where they can find you. I'll have it all linked below as well.
Yeah, you can find me at Chaz the Barber, CEEHAZ the Barber.
And we actually have an official Instagram account.
And we have the official Instagram account.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlie's First Haircut on Instagram.
Sounds good. Okay, cool. We'll link that all down.
Because my Instagram was starting to look too much like a kiddies book Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yo, what's up with this children's book? What happened, man? He used to be hard. Oh my god, I love it. It's all good now, though. It's all love, man.
I don't care, bro.
Yep, that's part of the brand now. You can't. That's part of the brand.
I don't care what anybody thinks, bro. We just rock out, bro.
Yep. But you're co-author, man.
That's pretty cool, man. It's awesome because me and my daughter, man, we come up with stories. We're creative together, man. We have a blast together, man. We're nuts.
And you know what I think? What I really grabbed from this too is like really anybody can do it. Like anybody can be creative. Anybody can create something and impact people just by doing what you want to do. And I think a lot of times the barrier to entry might seem, oh, you have to have a deal or you have to know a publisher, you have to know somebody. It's like you can just make this.
Yeah, a lot of people think like, oh, like I'm too young to write a children's book, but look at me, I'm 10.
Yep.
Now I am like, oh, I'm too old to write a book. It doesn't have to be a children's book, just any book. But if like oh, I have to know a publisher. Oh, I have to have like connections. No, just like. You know?
Just do it.
It helps. It helps.
Just do it.
Yeah, and it's not like you did this whole thing though. It's not like you just guided her through the whole thing. It's like you guys actually did it together. Like you learned about book publishing together. You learned about writing a book together. So it's just it still comes back to that collaborative thing, and like that's something that I think when you think about your parents, right? Or when I think about my parents, it's like there was no guide. You know, there was no game plan to parenting or getting your kids involved in things. It's like now there's so many opportunities for at any age to go and do things like this. Whereas before it was you thought you had to have some kind of end. It's like you don't. You could start a podcast. You can make your own music. You could write your own book. Doesn't matter how old you are, and you could give those opportunities to your kids.
And that's the beauty of technology when it's used as a proper tool. To do it like that, because
100%.
People are hitting me up now like, yo, how did you do it? How did you do that? I'm like, bro, Google.
I just did it.
Yeah, I just did it, honestly. But also, Google is a powerful tool.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Like, you can Google publishing companies. You can Google. You can go on YouTube and like, again, this world is new to me, the author world, and so now what am I doing now? I'm diving into it. When I'm driving, I'm listening to YouTubes of authors and how to market and how to do this, how to do that. Yeah. Because this is all new information for me. I didn't really listen. I knew the book was going to be successful. I thought really in my barber community with the support that I have, but to see like it kind of just take its own little like life and see where it's going, I was like, whoa.
It's bigger than just
it's bigger than what I really thought it was going to be. Again, it was a project for us to do as a family and something fun. But then, and I think that's what's actually really cool about it was that it was just like it's one of those things that you didn't know, and it's just like. You know, I've been doing all types of like celebrity work here and this, working with Nas, working with that program. But then you get the children's book is the one that goes pew.
Yes.
And it's with my fam, bro.
Yep.
What else could I ask for, man? I can like we can really do this, and I could be around. I just got deja vu. Wow.
Happens.
Wow. That we can. Wow, that's crazy. I got deja vu right now, bro.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, Natalia, but do you have any advice for people that are about to maybe go and write their own book or do something, on their own, maybe at your age?
If you're gonna write your own book, then like if it's my age, like talk to your parents about it. And also, like a lot of people think, oh, the internet's bad, it's bad, it's all bad. And of course, like there's a bad side and a good side to everything. But really, on YouTube nowadays, you can find like anything. Like before, it was just like you had to, like how you was talking about with the barber industry. Like, no, I'm not telling you how to do it. You gotta learn it yourself. But nowadays, with the internet and with YouTube and Instagram and all that, it's like you look up how to be a children's book author, and there's so much. Like nowadays people are just learning it in their own homes, just like self-taught.
That's it. Yeah, and it's completely possible. Thank you again for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Bopcast. As you know, we will have everything in the description for everybody listening and watching now in terms of your website and your Instagram. And I say it every time, and I'll say it again. We are on all platforms, even the ones nobody uses. All right. Chaz and Natalia, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, man.
All right.
Appreciate
we'll see
you, bro.
On the next one.